I like to think of ideas as a very special kind of tree. Let's paint a picture, shall we? Imagine a very dry desert with no vegetation whatsoever. A person with an idea represents a simple seed with a lot of potential. And there are a million of those scattered around, amongst which only one will flourish. And that is because of the roots. If we walk towards our goal alone, that seed may end up becoming a few branches and leaves, but it won't get much bigger than that, no matter how long we keep trying to make it grow. On the other hand, if we change the strategy and start from below, things might be different. If I'm able to convince one person of my idea, or find one that already shares it with me and they start fighting for it too, that seed will create roots and grow a little bit deeper into the ground. That one person I found will convince another, who will find yet another who agrees, and so it goes on. This will create a proper foundation system for the rest of the tree above the ground, which is what's going to make sure it can actually stand and survive even in those circumstances. This is change. True change is being able to grow a beautiful, healthy, and tall tree in the middle of a seemingly waterless desert. And this is exactly what Chico Mendes did. He was born in the state of Acre here in Brazil and grew up working with rubber trees. This economic activity was based in the cruel exploitation of the workers and of nature, and Chico Mendes spent his entire life fighting for what he believed in. He was a part of the first syndicate of workers in his state, organized many riots against deforestation, and advocated for extractive reserves, places where the maintenance of the forest and its resources would follow the principle of sustainable development. Throughout his life, he managed to unite a huge number of people from Brazil and many other countries in the defense of a common virtue, the one fighting for him or for the world he dreamt of and wished for. He started all of it. He planted the seed. But what truly made a difference was the collective effort of everyone who stood by him and everyone who is continuing his work. Change isn't something that happens overnight, and it's definitely not easy. It's a process, a journey, and it demands support, not from one, not two people, but from everyone. No matter who you are, where you're from, what you look like, or what language you speak. Some goals are important enough to overcome all barriers, all borders, and all limitations. In other words, change makers cannot be selfish, because being one means finding something greater than ourselves. It means being able to prioritize a cause over our individual needs and wants. I am in my last year of high school, and the big question that I'm constantly asked is, what do you want to do with your life? And I'm not sure yet what my job will be or what college I will attend, but I do know this. I want to be a part of something. I want to be an element of change. And in order to do that, there's no need for me to discover another planet or be the creator of the next technological surprise. We just need to commit, to make a promise, not to others, but to ourselves. The way I see it, it's about giving not the same amount as everyone else, but our 100%. So yeah, much more than trying to choose my course this year, I'm looking for purpose, for something that has such an incredible meaning that it can ignite my inner passion. And when I do find that, I'll put everything I've got into making it happen, just like Chico Mendes did. If I'm ever lucky enough to see that come to life, then I will finally be able to say that I changed the world with the help of those around me. In the meantime, what we can all do is actively try to attenuate some of the problems our society faces nowadays. Gender and race equality, accessibility to clean water and to proper food and housing, the existence of reliable health and education systems, these are all subjects that demand attention and discussion, but even more action. No wonder they are part of the Sustainable Development Goals program proposed by the UN. These are all milestones that we are meant to achieve together as one planet, one species. So when the next person comes to you and says, not everyone can change the world, be sure to tell them that it's actually the contrary. It is everyone who needs to change the world. Therefore, this is why the best route to change, and to be honest, the only route to actual significant change, has to engage all voices. Because the true essence of change comes from different sounding voices trying to say the same thing. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you for kicking off our competition with such passion and enthusiasm for your subject. So, ladies and gentlemen, please, if you have any questions at all for Isabella, please give me a wave or pop it in the chat, and then we can share the questions. So I'm just flicking through to see. Okay, so I think we have our first question from Matthew. So Matthew, if you'd like to unmute yourself and direct your question to Isabella.
Thank you, Isabella, for a fantastic speech to get us going. So, I mean, I agree with you that we need change. What would you say is not the most important thing we need to change, but the second most important thing you'd want to change in the world?
That is a very tricky question. And I feel like it's very much needed. Sometimes we only focus on what we need to change right now. And we forget about the second best thing, about the second thing we need to change, because we're so focused on the immediate thing. But, well, I think the first thing that we need to change would be the environment subject, because I feel like that's the most important. And the second most important, I think, would be the difference between developed countries and underdeveloped countries. And that is because for any changes, basically, we do need to work together as a global community. You know, it doesn't matter how much money we have, how our system works, our political systems, our economic systems, our health systems, nothing. Because sometimes, most of the times actually, just like this pandemic has taught us, we have to work together. And so I think it's very important to make sure that we wipe out, or at least attenuate, the big differences that we have between countries and continents, because if we do want to work together, everyone, we need to be at least at around the same level. And so I think we do need to try to work together towards making sure that we're more united and in a more similar situation to one another, so that when we fight something together, we can actually be a stronger force than if we do it separately with a lot of differences and specificities to each country.